Fans, welcome back to Colts Talk presented by Prize Picks. Glad to have you guys here. Look, the NFL right now booming with the trade rumors. A lot of names being floated around, a lot of teams being linked to different names, and the Indianapolis Colts are bound to be both linked and involved with name after name after name. They have one of the highest salary cap spaces in the NFL right now. That means they will be linked to trade rumors. They've also been pretty busy in the trade world over the past 2 years with the green light from their owner and their general manager looking to make it all happen in 2026. So we're going to get into who's being talked about right now and how Indy kind of fits in with those names. But first, our May sub battle. We're looking pretty good here, guys. We're at second. Texans today is the biggest channel of the AFC South channels. We're hanging in there with them. We're battling against them. We're crushing the lesser channels just below us there. Help us out. Hit that sub button so we can overtake Texans today for our May sub battle. All right, the biggest name in the NFL trade market, trade block, trade rumors, however you want to put it right now. Cardinals edge rusher Josh Sweat is just every team, everywhere, every rumor, every outlet right now. Who wants Sweat? How are they going to get him? What's he worth? So on and so forth. And look, once again, I think Indy has needs. I think they have money to spend, and I think they've been aggressive trade-wise. So a lot of these names we'll talk about today, certainly the Colts could be in the mix. I like Josh Sweat a lot. He had great numbers over the past few years, and right now his situation with the Cardinals is getting a little drama-filled. It's on the edge of getting a little crazy, but right now, not at voluntary OTAs, and going back to before the draft, there's been rumors that he's not happy in Arizona, not thrilled they fired Jonathan Gannon, which we'll get into more with his connection to Green Bay. And, he's under contract. He just signed there, so he's got 3 years and over $50 million left on his contract with the Arizona Cardinals. Here's the big thing, though, here, people. This is a really good edge rusher. Very good player. The numbers pop. The player himself pops. This is one of those passes the eye test, passes on paper, and has looked really, really good over the past few years. Great transition from Philly to Arizona, just like really owned up to it. And every time he's kind of had lesser in one category, he's made up for it in another category in general. Josh Sweat's a name we've kept an eye on free agency a couple times for the Colts to be involved, trade target a couple times. Now he's back as a trade target. Big thing for me is once again, you add this guy to your roster. You add him to your edge rusher room, your pass rushers. He is the best, right? He immediately has the best numbers. He immediately has the most pop, the most boom, and he'll have the biggest contract, no doubt about it. But he would kind of be what you thought you were going to get with Trey Hendrickson, what you've been rumored to maybe get with Joey Bosa. And again, if you could have all these guys together, working together, playing really, really well. But again, I think it's just a look at like, hey, if you add Josh Sweat to this room, you're getting a dude who's going to get after the quarterback in general and can really be a difference maker for a group that we're still not completely sure about on the defensive line in general. What we know as of right now, trade value-wise, this is what Bleacher Report had in their, it was like a trade target article for every team and tagging them for teams, different people linked there. 2027 fourth rounder conditional. So with some stats, with some uptick, could turn it into a third rounder. Not bad for Josh Sweat. I'm was thinking more like second or straight third to get him. But look, I think the Cardinals are headed for a rebuild. They're jammed up a little bit in the Sweat situation. He's clearly not happy. And the Cardinals, like I said, I mean, they're in this weird position where they're trying to figure out exactly how they want to move into the future. The question for them definitely will it be with or without Sweat? So, if you're a Colts fan, you can think about it, a fourth round pick or a third rounder, again, that's conditional, to get your hands on Josh Sweat. I think that's a pretty good deal to consider. We've got more to consider in just a second. But first, want you guys to consider America's #1 sports picks app. That is Prize Picks. That's right, people. We talk about it all the time, and for good reason. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. If you talk about the lineups for just a second, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats, then you lock in your lineup. If you love baseball, you can go with hits, home runs, strikeouts. If you're watching the basketball playoffs right now, which are coming to an end, by the way, may want to get in on the action. The basketball playoffs, you can go with points, rebounds, assists, blocks, or three-pointers. And if you're all about football, no problem. We got you covered here on Colts Talk, taking a look at two good quarterbacks set for a good season, so a season-long lineup. More on Dak Prescott's passing touchdowns We went more on the 27.5 and more on Joe Burrow's passing yards at 3,874.5. We went more there. You can go more, less more less. Interesting stuff there. We also were taking a look at some fun stuff recently on Prize Pick. Shout out to producer AP. Which artists will have the most monthly Spotify listeners at the end of May? You can make your pick for, say, Drake in this situation. Also, you see there, early payout. Yeah, that's not just music. They have that on other lineups too as well on Prize Picks. Early payouts, if your player or your pick there with the Spotify listener of the month, you get off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. And with the new social feeds feature, if you like those lineups we showed you or one of your lineups with your friends, you can follow them just like you would on social media. You can follow me at Billy_Beebe or at CSAP for my guy Aiden. Single click, you copied the lineups. Now, we have a new user offer for you. If you download the Prize Picks app today with the link in the comments section and description, just use code HMA. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. We have discussed Josh Sweat before here on Colts Talk. It was Bleacher Report listed him as like an also the Colts should take a look at Josh Sweat and Kayvon Thibodeaux. That was before the NFL draft where, you know, the Colts have been wishy-washy on what they want to do outside the draft edge rusher-wise. If you remember the Chris Ballard quote, he was like, yeah, maybe we'll take a look at another name there. Look, the deal at trying to get Sweat and battling for Sweat, we've seen it before, right? Philly's involved, Chicago's involved, Green Bay's involved. This is a contender is calling about Josh Sweat. Multiple contenders calling about Josh Sweat. What is the advantage the Colts have in this deal? Salary cap space. That's right. When all these teams call, they're talking restructures and adding players and cutting this guy and cutting that guy. For the Colts, 7th right now in NFL salary cap space. They've got just over $30 million in cap space as of right now. Now, that doesn't mean the deal gets done automatically, right? You still have to consider the conditional 4th or 3rd rounder to get Sweat and whatnot, but it's definitely an option for you to kind of be like, hey, we don't have to worry as much about Sweat's contract over the next few years because we've got the money to do it. This is an interesting contract. Like I said, just got signed. Shout out our boys on the Cardinals channel breaking it down a little bit for us. There's cap hits here. There's big cap hits here. So a lot of teams are going to look at this and say to themselves, man, would love to have Josh Sweat, but we just got done getting our books in order. We just got the rookies in here. We just got so-and-so free agency on the board. Not sure we can deal with 3 more years at this type of cap hit. The Colts can say, hey, we have our books in order. We've got a lot of money to spend. We feel like we need that extra oomph. Let's go ahead and get Josh Sweat. Now, who do you guys want to see the Colts add to the roster, whether it be trade, whether it be free agency? Give me a name. What's the move here? Is it somebody like Josh Sweat, or are you more interested in a Deebo Samuel? Drop a name down in the comments section below. There's another edge, and we kind of alluded to it, gave a little preview of it. Giants edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeaux has been in trade rumors going back to the draft once again. And I will say the Giants have kind of come in and out of the trade stuff. Just, this was like they still had Dexter Lawrence at this point in time. They were really just trying to remake their roster. It's funny because, Coach Harbaugh had a comment and was like, yeah, anybody can get traded at any time. That's what he said pre-draft. Now, many think that was more about Dexter Lawrence than Kayvon Thibodeaux. But, and there was a time where I was talking to our Giants host, Marshall Green, 3rd, and it's a done deal, right? They were ready to get rid of Kayvon Thibodeaux. I think things have changed a little bit, and it's become lesser. I know Joe Shane has kind of said, like, they're not as interested. They want to find a role. They want to make it work. Now, this trade with Sweat, the advantage for the Colts is the salary cap, right? You dish a pick or two, salary cap, you'll get that covered, right? And it's just a bad situation. This one's about draft capital. This one is about the Giants. If they're going to sell on Thibodeaux, they're going to sell high on Kayvon Thibodeaux. And that's why Bleacher Report's pitch for the Giants was to get a 2nd rounder from the San Francisco 49ers for Kayvon Thibodeaux. The Colts not listed in that trade, but hey, that's the trade value we're looking at here. A 2nd round pick to get to Kayvon Thibodeaux. And I know some people are interested. You like the idea of a former 5th round pick. You want him? Great. Not overly crazy contract. He's still on his rookie deal. However, you're giving up a second. So that means in 2027, no first, Sauce Gardner, no second, Kayvon Thibodeaux. That's the situation with a Kayvon Thibodeaux trade in general. If I'm Indy overall, their mindset, and I don't think it's too crazy to infer this, probably going free agency over trade right now, right? We already talked about the amount of money they have available. I will also note, like, the names available are really, really good. So I'm not giving up a second for Kayvon Thibodeaux when I could just pivot and sign Joey Bosa, something like that. But Thibodeaux on the trade market and a name to watch in general. If the Colts want to take care of their issue on offense at wide receiver 2, we recently got some new trade rumors around former first-round pick and a guy who's done it at a high level for the Minnesota Vikings, Jordan Addison. Some new rumors coming out about Jordan Addison. Our Vikings channel had to kind of, acknowledge him a little bit, talk about him a little bit. The rumors coming from Pro Football Network as one player each team could trade. A little bit of legal trouble for Addison. That's the driver over the past few years for a possible trade here. The quote from ESPN was multiple dust-ups with the law. Never great there. But the Vikings clearly are trying to either A, hold on to an asset or just make this thing work. Picked up his fifth-year option. They still have a lot of faith in this guy, and the faith is all based around that rookie season. That 2023 season was like, can't believe these guys have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison at this point in time, and yet over the next few years, the numbers decline, right? Less touchdowns, less yards, less catches, off the field stuff, off the field issues. That usually turns you into a trade target, right? Declining numbers, former first-round pick, off the field issues. A lot of that comes with being a potential trade target because Vikings believe, might need a change of scenery. Addison might believe that. All that is kind of mixed here. Now, my personal thought with Addison, same thing as Thibodeaux. I really like Josh Sweat, so I don't want to say I'm out on Josh Sweat completely, but it's the same vibe as Kayvon Thibodeaux for me, personally. The idea here is, why would I trade, I don't know, value not listed, but let's say a second or third round pick to get Jordan Addison when, again, you look to the free agent market, it's Stephon Diggs, more off the field trouble, Deebo Samuel, and other names there. So the news is going to hit quick for the Colts coming up here with the trade target stuff, the trade value stuff. They're a team in the mix. Be sure to stay with us here on Colts Talk.